FM24 had 20 million players, which is a number that I never thought that I'd be able to say, right? It's a huge amount of players. But I'm not really one for hyping things up. I could sit here and say that it's the best game ever, but not everyone's going to agree with that. If you don't want to play the game because it's got women in, don't buy it.
This year, women's football has been introduced for the very first time in series history, changing the game forever, with 14 leagues across 11 nations and 3 continents, including some of the biggest licenses in the women's game.
The big story with FM is the cancellation last year. Is FM26 ready to go?
Well, you've just spent the last couple of hours playing it, so you're probably in a bit better position to say than I am. We're pretty happy with it. We've got a couple of weeks left of developments. There's still work to do, still some bugs to fix. But yeah, we're looking forward to unleashing it to the world in a few weeks' time.
And you yourself have said that it's the most ambitious title to date because of that shift to Unity, the graphics and stuff like that. Has it been worth all of the trouble and strife that it's caused?
That's quite a big question. That's for the consumers to decide, not for me. I hope that they're going to enjoy playing it when it comes out. They've certainly enjoyed playing FM24. The numbers on that were ridiculous. So it's going to be a sense of relief, I think, for a lot of us in the studio when it does come out, because it's unlike us to not have a game released every year. But I'm not really one for hyping things up. I could sit here and say that it's the best game ever, but not everyone's going to agree with that. I could sit here and say everything and anything and everything, and someone would disagree. So, the game will be out in a few weeks for people to try it. There will be a free demo, as always, for people to try out as well. But yeah, I hope they enjoy it. It's also the starting point for us of the next 20 years of the journey, rather than a finishing point. So it's good to be starting that journey again.
And like you said, it is that big change. Is there, with so much changing and so much new in the game, is there anything in particular that you and the team felt it was most important to get right with this game?
The user interface and user experience is really important. And what we're seeing at the moment is there's a lot of people who are loving it. There's some people who have 20 years worth of muscle memory with our previous UI who may be struggling with it a little bit. So we're looking at the moment at what we can do to help with the people that do struggle with it a bit the first time they play it. The graphical side of things was obviously really important for us. That's the big reason that we moved engines, was to get that extra graphic capability, and I think that side of things is looking pretty awesome as far as I'm concerned at the moment.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. I think when I first saw the clips online, it didn't really come across to me, but then when you sit down, you have it in front of you properly, you really see the difference there.
There've been a lot of improvements to the graphics since we released that first video of it. So that first video went down really well, but we've improved things since then. So
yeah, and on the subject of like the improved graphics and the changes to UI and things like that, there have been some almost criticisms from sections of the fan base of there's a view that maybe the game is going more towards a more simplistic and sort of console-focused view to try and appeal to new players, and that maybe the ongoing fan base isn't as important. What is your response to that?
Getting new players. FM24 had 20 million players, which is a number that I never thought that I'd be able to say. Right, it's a huge amount of players. With any brand, any game, you've got to be mindful of how audiences change over the years, and certainly the level of depth that is in FM26 is still the level of depth that we've had in previous games. There's a lot more stuff that is instantly visible. There's some stuff that's a bit more hidden away, which is the stuff that maybe the hardcore like as well. It's wrong to say that we're aiming at a console audience, because we have a console game that we are aiming at a console audience, not the PC side of things. But everyone out there is always going to have an opinion, and the most hardcore of our fans will always speak the loudest, and we listen to what everyone has to say, and we try and do things that are going to appeal to everyone, but there is no one audience group that we have that is more important than the other, whether that be new players, people who've played for 2 or 3 years, or people who've played for 30. All of those voices need to be heard, and then it's a balancing act of what we can do to please everyone. But I'm not stupid. You can't please all people all of the time. There are still a lot of people who play Championship Manager 01, 02 because they haven't moved across to the Football Manager series at all. And as long as they're playing one of our games, I'm pretty happy, because that means we're still entertaining them.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the other flagship changes this year is the introduction of women's football at last. And I think the vast majority of people are very excited for it, but there is that very small minority that are complaining about it, that don't want it in the game. How do you react to that kind of response to it?
If you don't want to play the game because it's got women in, don't buy it.
Okay, I think that's the correct answer. And on that kind of note, there are like SI as well, but also you've got organisations like the FA, England, UEFA, have always been supporting things like Kick It Out and Stonewall and Rainbow Laces and stuff like that. But especially in the current political climate, and you've got like the Premier League has stepped away from Rainbow Laces, and there's all kinds of abuse going around, whether that's racial, homophobic, anti-Semitism, misogyny, that kind of thing. How important do you think it is that not game studios like SI and others, but also organisations like UEFA, FIFA continue to support those kinds of campaigns?
Well, Kick It Out has been in Football Manager for over 20 years as a campaign. They get advertising hoardings in the game, and they're very much still a part. As far as I'm concerned, all people are equal, and there should be no racism, homophobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism in the world. I don't understand it. But maybe I've been brought up differently to some other people. People are people. They're either good people or bad people, or in reality, there's a huge grey area between good and bad, which is the scale of humans. But I think it's very important to be pushing a message of equality, because everyone should be equal.
Okay, great. And just one question more. With regards to Football Manager, where do you go from here?
Well, this is the first year of a not mapped out 20-year journey. And I say 20 years because that's how long the last saga of Football Manager lasted for. This is year one of a new beginning. And there are all kinds of things that we want to do in the future. There are all kinds of things that we wanted to do for this year. I think any game studio that you talk to who work on any literative titles start off with a huge list of things that they want to do, and it ends up getting scaled down during the development process and development period based on the time that you have to do it. So we definitely want to carry on entertaining people and taking up their leisure time in the way that we have done over the last 20 years, 30 years with Champman before that, and long may it continue. But I'm not about to start talking about FM27 when we haven't even released FM26 yet, because of course the reaction to 26 will help shape 27 as well.
Yeah, fair enough. And I did say that was the last question. I do have one more question. If you had to pick one team for people to manage in this year's game, who would it be?
Oh, wow. One team for anyone to
manage.
One
team for anyone, the recommendation.
It's really tough because everyone plays the game in their own way. I tend to play as the team that I support when I'm doing career games. So I would say manage Watford, but it depends what kind of challenge that you want. I think that's an impossible question to answer. So a good one to end with. If you want an easy experience, then go with a team in the Premier League. one of the bigger teams in the Premier League. If you want a bit of a challenge, there's some great lower league challenges out there. If you want to learn more about women's football, then definitely a WSL team is a great choice. But you know, there's something like, I think it's 53 or 54 countries leagues in the game now. So certainly no small choice for people on who they manage and how.